Hello, Zoomland. So we are very, very honored to be able to present these new chapbooks at Russell Books. We have 4 presenters, and I will just call them up one by one and read their bios at each time. So Brian Palmu is a poet and critic currently living in Victoria, BC. His 2 poetry chapbooks are Sunset Mathematics through Frog Hollow Press and Parade through Anstruther Press. Is that how you pronounce it? Anstruther. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you. That's perfect. Great. Thanks everyone for showing up, and thanks Kieran for the invite, and thanks Nancy. Yeah, so I'm gonna, as Nancy mentioned, I'm gonna be reading from Parade chapbook. This came out last year actually now. And the title poem. As thousands of us packed both sides of the blacktop, the first float emerged between bank towers and purred in slow-mo. Up close, ribbons and banners, batons helicoptering, smiles that sparkled as in toothpaste ads, megaphones emitting cheer, trumpets, trombones, and a belly bass drum in front where the decorated cake spread under manned turrets. Cheerleaders waved and looked down from each side of the rigs. Was it my low blood sugar darkened the day, or a passing cloud that brought into relief smiles abruptly frozen near me in waxy forbearance? The pageantry continued in measured comportment, the last float backed by a long black car, unobtrusive, splitting evenly the center line. The next one is a spring song. It's inspired by the great German poet Gottfried Benn, and it's the English translation of the title would be People Met. Spring song. Long after potato peels, carrot knobs, and bitter cherry leaves, said Delaquest, among manure on fenced-in, fog-drenched eaves, she bent in pain, troweled 3 lines for carrots, beans, and kale, pressed seeds, then ground to stand. Inside, cane aslant a busted chair, her finger under catechism script, she focused her eyes on highest bookcase row, engraved pinched brow, stoic lip, riverine cheeks, faded gown. Where do we go and when? What next? Let's see. A work poem, since there's several work poems in here. This is when I worked in a steel mill between the summers, summers last 2 years before high school, and then coming out of high school as well in Vancouver, called Galvanizing 101. Hook steel in this furnace for a decade, you get used to dreams interred with gray weight. Purblind, you feel the air infected, made over in off hours. Stockyard rails await their coating, carbon-added cold tea sheen in perfect lines that never meet. A bad link in the chain, human or marine, and it's over in a sec. Your gear, fad bravura, V-neck. Attitude, I know. Shifts end though, you'll be speckled with molten flecks. Still, they're cheap tattoos if you go for a dicky of liver spots. That chain resting on skin, gotta go. Every hope is on prevention. A zinc wave event and your necklace is a pubic hair and soap. One eye often on the ground, no gents aesthetics of a final salmon run, cattle roundup or logging vista, but silver jigsaw pieces without a fit, dun dust, acid stippled cement bumps, pipes cut to sudden parallax, forks from a heister you can't hear for shouts, explosions, air hose streams. Other eye often on the first man. Chrysler's heads up means you're lowering a tank or beam into the kettle behind those shields. Don't be squeamish on his down fast next verse. Thumb on deepest setting. He might spiel for Jesus during breaks, but he's a terse OT bastard on the floor. Lid stays on from locker to locker. Your goggles seals. We've no compo accidents for 4 days. Crew's almost ready. Let's cook some steel. And this one's actually an ekphrastic poem. Gregory de Chirico, great Spanish 20th century painter, based on his painting and of the same title, Happiness of Returning. Structures you could lose yourself in, spectral, floorless, black past Roman arches. Serpentine flags mean wind, but it's airless below. Mammoth stone killing motion, depth impossible to gauge. Madness, and the man aslant within savage angles, gazing at the train boxed in, docked by brick, bereft of track. Returning to what? To Chirico, the mocked ironist, imparting a severe sanctuary, gone half-cocked, where filtered light amplifies implacable shade. You care for a bell or another human, since the man is a mannequin there. Do shadows gather inside a head? You pray for hope to craft a prayer. That's all for parade I'm going to read, but I would like to close with something a little lighter. I've been just 5 years in Victoria, but since it's Victoria, got to read this one. The Randy octogenarians of Victoria, BC. Alone and unassuming, they stick like rare currants in hot cross buns, embedded in yoga classes, clever at wine-fueled book club sessions, genteel in the foyer after Lutheran sermons, Peruvian gravitas and grace during salsa dances, dressed appropriately, but studded with vacation gear, Mexican belt, Turkish vest. They nestle in communities where widows organize, quick to toast or pray as seasons flow. If seats are vacant, they shuffle peacock eyes, interpose. While oblivious youth and midlife crisis players with pecs and stingrays get swept left, discriminating old-timers, flush with cash and chemicals, penetrate clip joint and lounge, bingo palace and flower display, seduce the silver-haired in their bountiful winter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian. Welcome to Victoria. Our next reader is Karen Loucks. I actually had that practiced that, but Karen lives and writes in Victoria, BC, on the unceded traditional territory of the ʷəŋən speaking peoples. Her poetry has been published in several anthologies and most recently won the High Marsh Press Deborah Wills Chapbook Contest and had a poem longlisted for the CBC Poetry Prize in 2023. Welcome, Karen.
Nice to see everybody. Thanks to Planet Earth and also all its volunteers that make this possible, and to High Marsh Press, of course. Also, inside the little books, for those of you who bought one tonight, there's a postcard. Julie Paul, who is a Victoria and Montreal poet, her art is in there. Linda Crossfield produced the postcards. And just thanks to all my family and friends who support me, and especially Jenna, who's here tonight with me. Couldn't be happier about that. So I'm going to begin with the first poem in the chapbook, which is called Truth, Hard as a Seed. The epigraph. Can you hear me okay? Do you want it up a little?
Be better.
Is that better? Yeah. The epigraph is, or it's after a line from Ada Limon. Seeds that slip into a cheek or under the tongue, tiny arrows of truth. The scuttle, the scurry, ghosts in the throat, what's left unsaid, sharp as nails. The truth is dangerous as an animal, a hunter done with clays looking to flush a grouse. The truth is soft stain of small bird in cat's mouth, or the hard seed of forgiveness, a bract, no room for mousetail lies. The truth is as sword, is as scale, Anubis waiting with feathers the hearts of the dead. Let all that is saccharine be spliced, germ and chaff, nothing left unthreshed. Consider the soft yellow of cottonwood buds in oil, in beeswax, wings and honey for the wound. A balm for what ails us, the seed in our palms, the astonishment of truth. A second poem's a little different. There's a word in this poem which is fitch. It refers to a small mammal called a fisher. So I just wanted to say that before I read the poem. The title is Motherhood in the Order Carnivora, and it begins with an epigraph. The best part about not having children is that you can go on believing that you're a nice person. Faye Weldon. Thank you, Faye. Always I've wanted to be a fitch in winter pelt, dense and glossy, stealing the forest, the snared hare, a birdline grouse. Even the lynx is no match. Bedded down in an early snow, single-handedly finished by a mere polecat, beneath black spruce, broken branches, tufts of fur, spatter on snow. A fisher has few predators. To a mother, though, all mammals are rapacious. The scent of bobcat on every tree. A mother watches like a deer, squint of eye, nostrils wide, listens, amygdala lit up like the black boreal sky. Case hardened and crepuscular, her mustelid self, a source of her own unspooling. Is that better? Did it go down again?
That's good.
It's okay? You want me to read louder? Okay. All right. All right. This poem is called In the Middle of Our Brains, and the epigraph, I seem to like epigraphs, is by Ada Limon. Now we take the moon into the middle of our brains. Tree branches, rain black and slick, the year's offspring have undone their safety clasps, fallen from mothers to become forest floor, petrichor. I want to alchemize, to become the owl at dusk, motionless. I want that kind of patience. I want to climb inside her carapace, feel the warm wet of a fresh-earned kill, blood sticking to my insides, a trickle running down my face. The night is lightless, and beneath the scythe of a new moon, ears that are not ears ignore the silent screams of rabbit, of mouse, the neighbor's cat skinned alive behind the shed. In the middle of our brains, we scream too, fallen somehow from where we thought we'd be, taking on skins of creatures we've known along the way. This next poem is about one of the creatures I've known along the way. The animal I want to be is you. Grow a backbone. Don't be spineless. Write the poem about the dog who died. Be a vertebrate about it. You have me on a loose leash, a long lead. I let go. The rasp of brittle rope cuts my palm and you're gone. Gone to the sea, gone to the gulls, gone to the rocks where I can't stop you. You are faster, leaner, longer than ever before. The sound of the skiff on a crushed shelled beach has your tail at attention, your neck erect, paws at 45 degrees. Hundreds and thousands of smells never smelled by another dog anywhere ever before. Write the poem. Alas, I am without spine, an echinoderm, 6-armed star, thorny star, blood star, brittle star. I am soft as a sea cucumber, exposed as a nudibranch. You would bring me mussel shells, strings of eelgrass, sculpins, and just once a hermit crab. A young eagle watches from the top of the tallest fir. If I just write that poem, the one where you die in my arms, the soft sea of your spine against my sternum in that final blue hour. And I'll finish with the poem that was longlisted for the CBC Poetry Prize in 2023. CPC 511, Psychology of Loss and Grief, after Elizabeth Bishop's 12 o'clock news. Travel clock, folded, I am servant, waiting for the students, wanting for them. I am 8 o'clock. Books, as if a book could encapsulate principles and practice of grief counseling, grief and bereavement in contemporary society. Invite, Natalie Goldberg. Cross-legged on the table, she says, pick a card, words to draw blood. What are you trying to welcome? Outside the window, bumblebees, it's January. Lazy zeppelins, brave in the pale sun. The students are ink to page, quick like snow melt. My pen is still. What must you say goodbye to? 7 possible reasons for disappointment, or why your forsythia didn't bloom into blossom this spring. Excess nitrogen, improper pruning, late freeze, old plant, premature bloom, too much shade. I pick up my pen, suspect the last in the list, buried crown. Tell me about your mother's hair. I write, the night is quiet, the nurses about to arrive. The photo of her at 5, white dress, ballet slippers, hair short. It is soft even now, a double crown. Her hands flutter like delicate Cisnia moths on the coverlet. Invite, don't know, mind. Cicada song, a 17-year suggestion, like sugar or salt, the water lovers. What the poets have to say on the matter of grief. The bare plum of winter rain, thirst, bright dead things. Before dismissal, read to them Rumi, Rilke, Ram Dass. Suggest dinner with their mothers, an analog clock. Final assessment. Assign a number to sorrow, to tears, to in-text grammar, to the one who last night lost a brother to fancified ecstasy. At 34, another bright dead thing. Singing bowl. Sing them home. A bowl, a single sustained note, a coda, between breaths, between dusts. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Karen. It was beautiful. Our next reader is Jackie Bell. Her poetry has been published in literary journals, including The Fiddlehead, Grain, The New Quarterly, Prairie Fire, and Event. Her work has also appeared in 13 anthologies. Ubi Sunt, a chapbook, was published in 2024 by Alfred Gustav Press, and her collected work in Summoning won first place in the Raven Chapbooks Contest 2025. Welcome, Jackie.
Thanks. Well, I'm honored to be here. Is this good for the mic? Can you hear? No. Oh. Is that better?
There.
Good.
Just want to be close to it.
Oh, okay.
Close to it. There you go.
Okay. Good. Thank you. I wanted to thank Diana Hayes, the publisher of the Raven Chapbooks, and her graphic artist, Sarah J. Clark, who did such a beautiful job, and my sister back there, who's the artist who did the cover and the art inside, which is quite beautiful. Okay. I have to apologize for, there's a tiny little bit of singing in this first poem. It's very short. Charmed to summon your absent ones. Under a blood moon, tie red thread on your finger, prick it with a blackberry thorn, bright crimson button. Call them home. They have grown lonely as foghorns. Lure them like feral creatures from forest's verge with a favored scent, chamomile, sage, sweet orange. Tell an anecdote or joke. Remember Norm's grilled chicken, how it fell off the hibachi, rolled over the edge of his 10th story balcony? On beaches, build driftwood fires with blue salt flames. Spell out their names with vacant shells, mussel, clam, oyster. Be water-tongued, learn waves speak, the drift and tug. Pour a cup of rye whiskey on the sand for your Aunt Linda, who told you how Uncle Pete, recently deceased, waltzed across her bedroom one night, singing, "Could I have this dance for the rest of my life?" Remember the lily's soft white light. It is still spring, your feet bare on your father's wingtips, slow dancing to moonlight serenade. Do not hold on too tight. That's probably all the comic relief you're going to get. Sorry about that. This poem is for my friend whose nickname is Crow, and she calls me Crone, which I am. A pair of crows in the spruce today remind me how you tilt your head like a swimmer shaking water from her ear, but you did it to hear true the music of this world. How many ways to say your absence sings in me, wears me out like wind eroding sandstone into hoodoos. I am like a tongue, poor worm, that keeps returning to the hole left by a missing tooth. Absence is the gift that keeps giving, generous reminders of places you've been, what you've seen or touched. You wanted to gather all the luster in your glossy feathers, not to have or keep, but to understand more deeply how to save the world. I see how it's honed you, silvered you like a mirror, reflecting love, its infinite shine. Grief is watching a robin land on the empty saucer of your bird bath. All summer you kept it clean and full, the water reflecting green needles of spruce trees hovering close by. The occasional cloud leaning over to check its latest hairstyle. And of course, the sky, galloping horse blue, this precious air blue, or wish I'd said goodbye blue. Now, late November, that bird has no right to be expecting water. Grief is like that, always too late, missing the train, the date, holding a bouquet of wilted tulips. And it's no good rushing out with a watering can, because first you need to clean the bird bath of its cumulus debris, dead leaves, dried needles, and by the time you do, that bird is long gone to sing its sorrow in some other tree. And your remorse, like Alice's white rabbit, checks its pocket watch and mutters, late, too late. This one starts with an epigraph from Linda Gregerson. Elegy tries to console us with a failed rescue attempt. It's called The Answer. You fell down the basement stairs and just kept falling. Bruises bloomed everywhere that night in emergency. You can smell it on her breath, the intern said. The truth loomed like a black-throated lily. You marveled at my fingernails, asked how I kept them so white, yours stained yellow like old horse teeth. I was young, only saw what surfaced like kelp forests, shiny bulbous heads, looping sepia tails. I couldn't see the depths you swam in, what behemoths lived there. So the answer was easy. Just stop, smoking, drinking, falling. Words so full of themselves, they floated like failed life preservers as you sank. But you resurfaced every time, blinking in brightness. I was blind to your bravery, Mother, but send this to you now. A rope thrown out, knotted, briny, breaching dust clouds, dark matter, and faint blue galaxies. Like satellite greetings broadcasting endlessly in deep space, hoping it will reach you. This broken cradle, this creaky lullaby. And I'll just have two more poems. At Sea, this is for Jacqueline Fiala. If you can't remember how much you've forgotten, does it matter? Sprinkles of the past like toppings on Sundays shared with your dad at the corner diner in Two Hills. Now you survive each day a little more lost, a little seasick. Sometimes it's as if all the waves retreat one by one, soldiers in a losing battle. How to call them back? They recede to the horizon and spill over the edge of your earth, which is flattened like a leaky air mattress. Once you might have relished this challenge, your disease an enemy to vanquish. But now it just tires you, trying to trap words, slippery as fish, gliding through your unraveling neural net. How is it today? I call, see what memories we can glean together. Remember the heat of that day, shiny kelp ribbons glistening on sand. We peered into tide pools, sun burning the backs of our necks, that huge mint green anemone. Remember how its tentacles cleaved to your finger, then one by one, they let go. And I'll end with a brief sermon. September and the light has shifted just slightly to the east. Well, the sun, really. Be specific, they say in writing class. But sometimes I can't find the precise words for a thing, though it lingers like a taste to savor. Name it. Morning's first coffee or fog on the water. But this is old age. Perhaps when all the words have leaked away, the thing itself remains in all its majesty, like that swan in the bay at sunrise, floating, then lifting the ministry of its wings. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Jackie. That was gorgeous. And our last but not least, is Susan Alexander, the author of 3 collections of poems. Her work has won awards and been featured on buses, as well as in anthologies and literary magazines in Canada, the UK, and the US. Oh, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. She lives on Bowen Island. Thank you. I won't even try. The traditional and unceded territory of the Squamish people. Please welcome Susan.
That's great. Oh, hello there. I feel like saying hello, Victoria. Oh my God, you're here. Gary and Serena are here. Tella. Okay, anyway, this is so cool. Anyway, no, I'm just flummoxed, but I wanted to say thank you, thank you so much to Zoe and Kieran for, reading in this space is incredible. It's just incredible. It's such a great venue and bookstore, everything. And to you guys, you guys in Victoria have something really special having Planet Earth Poetry. It's an amazing event, and I'm just really honored to be here. And Diana, I hope you're watching, because you gave me this book, and Diana hand tied with ribbon the edge of all of these. And the book's to me, it's dramatic and it's romantic, and which really mirrors the content. And thanks to Sarah Clark for her design. And I found out I was going to get this published on the day after my husband's funeral. And I just couldn't believe it. It just felt like, wow, how could, how remarkable, what a gift. So I'll just start reading. This is a poem, it's after Lorna Crozier. And Lorna wrote a series of poems, like The Man from Here and The Man from There. And they were just this wonderful series. And so had to try my own. It's called The Man from the Sound, and I live on Howe Sound. It happened off the point, where the tide rips past the bay, where mussel beds edge granite into blue velvet. I caught him with a question mark, a hook he himself provided, though his body thrashed against it. He showed me where the octopus hid, shoals of purple starfish, nudibranchs like tiny seraphims. He surged into my hollows, my salt. His face held blue shadow, even in sunlight, and his skin was damp and cool. When I reached for him, he pulled away, left me messages in bottles. I held my breath for days. One thing that Lorna said to me is, your poems often know more than you do. And I felt like that's very, very true of these poems, because I read them, I wrote this collection I wrote while Ross was ill, but we didn't know where that was going to go. So it's quite interesting when I read them now and hear them. So this next one is Waffles and Strawberries. Did my kid leave? Tella, are you here? She snapped out. Oh, maybe I won't read this poem.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'll read it. Okay. Waffles and Strawberries. When he gives me the news, I'm slicing strawberries for waffles, because lately he seems far away, and even though he never asks, I know what he loves. I'm thinking of my Norwegian grandmother who had 10 to feed, and my mom was 7, and there would have been more if she hadn't persuaded the surgeon to tie her tubes when he removed half her ulcered stomach. At least that's how I heard the story. The old recipe pasted inside a makeshift cookbook, its spine broken, loose sheets gathered by a rubber band. When he gives me the news, I've already whisked the egg whites, folded their peaks into batter, and ladled it over the checkers, his bone marrow hatching something called blasts, which explains why he's so tired. We've stopped reaching for each other. He says it feels like a performance. I demand. But it isn't that way at all, just how I blush when he touches me with those powerful hands. Oh, the strenuous wait, that infinite delay, the sudden gold I love to break into perfect hearts, sweetness filling each hollow. No more cast iron on the stovetop like Grammy, who served hers with whipped cream and preserves. Though with Mom, it was simpler, butter and so-called syrup, boiled sugar water, flavored with Maybelline. A distant beep, I smell the hot bake. I offer him waffles with everything. Butter and real maple syrup, heavy cream and strawberries, because that's the way they taste best. It's winter now, so even though each trucked in berry promises sweet under ruby skin, each slice pales to white. So this next poem's title is Vanishing Gods. And what you kind of need to, you might, what do I say? There's a couple of words in here. Kaaba is a Muslim shrine, and Alcazar is a palace, a Moorish palace in Sevilla. And the first line sort of hints at a fairy tale. Vanishing gods. Each year, I wait for 2 maples at the shore to gild themselves. Scullery maids off to the ball. We were in foreign parts, touring the Kaabas, the crumbled Alcazar. I was afraid I'd missed the best mosaic, gold stars scattered after last night's wind. We touch each other more often now. An extra kiss before going for groceries. I can't complain. You were leaving this world when I found you. You were always leaving. I'll read. How am I doing?
You're doing
Okay,
great.
I'll read a couple more. This one's the one, this was the second time I got on a Vancouver bus. And again, thanks Diana for this, because one of the great things about Diana Hayes and Raven Chapbooks is she'll send your poems off to the Poetry in Transit. It's not really a contest, but it is a contest. They pick 10 poems and they put them up in the bus for the year. So that's kind of fun. So this one was my poem. So what's up on the buses are the first 2 stanzas of this poem, and then it goes on. And again, there's some words in here. Essaouira is a town on the west, a city on the west coast of Morocco. Of Morocco on the Atlantic, and a jalaba is a North African tunic. Listening to marigolds. Sun clusters shine from bedraggled pots among languishing petunias, lobelia, geraniums, maroon-snouted snapdragons that never amounted to much. Our leaving out the deck furniture was optimistic for encounters that will not come, cushions sodden. What to do with the brave ones, these late bloomers? Warm our fingers at their little fires. Hope, 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 they shout into the gray morning storm. I'm watching while you sleep as if I could save you, as if my love could free some endless summer of flowers like your Essaouira days in the 60s when you roamed beaches in a brown jalaba. I can see you there, your cook fire lit, young and unencumbered, alone with the ocean. So close, the past, just tucked behind the rain. Now, the marigolds howl into the wind, because wet or dry, this is what we have, you and I. Your energy seeps as if you too ran on solar, while the dark tether pulls us closer. And I'll finish with this, this poem. I wrote it for one of Ross's first birthdays, and it's called The Reasons Why. Because you always have another life I haven't heard about yet. Because when you were a boy wandering hillsides of prairie crocus, your collie dog was more real than any human would ever be. Because each time you drive in the city, you're looking for getaway routes. Because you complain so entertainingly. Because you know when to get angry and how not to hold a grudge. Because you think you can fool the cops by prying the number 1 off your Vespa and pretending it's a 50cc. Because you know how to listen for what's not being said. Because you laugh at me, laughing at my own jokes. Because getting credit for something isn't as important to you as getting the job done. Because you always try to persuade me that we need a gun. Because you have the courage to say the hard things to people's faces, and sometimes they thank you for it. Because you learned how to spoon. Because when you disagree with the guys, you'd rather argue with your fists, but you don't anymore. Because you think wedding anniversaries should be celebrated more than birthdays because marriage is earned. Because when your first girlfriend's father, the banker, asked you what your intentions were, you told him you were exploring the map of life, music, art, and poetry. And he had the gendarmes arrest you. Because after the diagnosis, you urged me to get a new lover because it wasn't fair. Because you hate to speak in public, but by the time you're finished, everyone is laughing or crying or both. Because there's always room for someone's dog. Because you love the corner drift of rear wheel drive. Because you interrupt the steady flow of bullshit to get to the heart of the story. Because always you see the heart. Thank you.